Happy New Year, Lions fans, and welcome into the Pride of Detroit POD cast. It is a new year. Your Detroit Lions are technically undefeated in 2026, so whatever happened in 2025 doesn't really matter. We can actually kind of forget that entire, part of the year ever existed. Not really, because we are going to have to talk about, what happened this season and the Lions' most recent victory over the Chicago Bears. I'm your host, Miko, and we are officially back from a little bit of a break to be able to talk about the Lions' most recent win. The Lions are back to their winning ways. I'm back to my diet, which is kind of nice with the new year starting and back to being a little bit healthier. But with that said, we are going to talk a lot about the Lions' most recent win over the Chicago Bears and reflect on the season as well as look ahead to some of the things that the Lions have going on now that the season has officially wrapped up. But before we jump into all of those things, first and foremost, let me introduce my amazing co-host. First and foremost, we have your senior editor over at prideofdetroit.com, Ryan Matthews at Ryan underscore POD. Ryan, how are you feeling, my man?
I'm feeling good. I thought you were already kicking it to the righteous felon read when you were talking about your new diet. And I was like, oh, sweet. That was a quick first segment. I blinked and it was gone.
Nope, I gotta know because unlike most people, I decided to take like that winter break off and decided to just eat whatever I wanted. I felt like I deserved that.
Good for you, man.
Yeah. And also joining us today, we have your editor-in-chief over at prideofdetroit.com, Jeremy Reisman at Detroit Online over there on Twitter. Jeremy, how are we feeling, my guy?
Good. You've now made me feel guilty about my post podcast plans of going to Taco Bell, though.
Oh, don't worry. I have also post-podcast plans of ordering peach cobbler rolls that are at Arby's. So we
Oh,
can all make terrible decisions
that's part of
today.
your diet? Dang. You're gonna
Hey,
have to show
listen,
me that
I
diet.
barely ate. I was gonna say when you structure your things the right way, guys, you can still enjoy, a nice treat here and there. And I think that's a great way to celebrate a victory Monday. And that's exactly what I'm going to do because the Lions did get I don't know how we're going to describe this. A must needed win. I needed it for my own morale, but the Lions did get a win over the Chicago Bears yesterday, finishing the season 9-8 on the season in a 19-16 win over the Chicago Bears. There's a number of things to talk about from this game, but I guess I want to just start right here with you, Jeremy. What is some of the things that you really kind of took away from this win in the first place?
Well, I mean, it was a return to form in a lot of ways. They ran the football, they stopped the run, they dominated time of possession, they looked like a complete team, and yes, that is equal parts satisfying to see them do that to the Chicago Bears and satisfying to see that the Lions are like the team that we knew is still somewhere inside there, and equal parts frustrating that it wasn't there for the past month and a half. Um, but at the same time, I, I mean, part of me thinks this is kind of how the entire season went, is when they went up against a team that doesn't have a good defense. They generally they won. Like, generally they did what they wanted to do. Generally they did the things that we expect them to do, because if the running game is going, then the offense is operating as we expect it to. And if the offense is operating as it expects to, then they're taking a little bit of pressure off the defense and giving them time to relax and recharge after every drive, instead of going three and out, three and out, three and out, defense, 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 defense. Um, and so, I mean, I look back, I'm already kind of like doing these like season reviews in my head, and I'm looking at the games that the Lions lost, and it's like, oh, good defense against the Packers, good defense against the Rams, good defense against the Steelers, good defense against the Eagles. Like, oh, if you're just able to stop this Lions offense, or at least slow them, then you're probably going to win the football game. And the Bears don't have a very good defense. I don't think they're a particularly good team. Like, I'm back on that side again. That's maybe that's my main takeaway. Maybe the Bears are just frauds. Like, they're gonna. I think they lose to the Packers, to be quite honest, because
It,
they should have lost both. They should have been swept by the Packers, right? Like, no one can sit here and realistically say the Bears even earned that second win. They didn't.
No, and trust me, it took everything in me to not make that a topic of discussion for this podcast about us just like railing on the Bears about them being frauds because I think that is part of the storyline to come out of yesterday's game, Ryan. But I still do want to focus more on the Lions because it's just like there were some impressive things to come out of that game. And like Jeremy said, it was a bit of a return to form in some senses. Like they were able to get the run game going. They were also able to stop the run. When you look back at yesterday's game, which of those two things probably impressed you the most in that game against the Bears?
I think stopping the run against the Bears was the more impressive feat, if I'm being entirely honest. And I, I jumped to that conclusion knowing full well that the Lions did not have Penei Sewell on the field, and they were still able to run the ball pretty effectively. They had, after the game, we found out just how much Taylor Decker has put his body through over the course of the last couple seasons, and what he's going through. Graham, playing center, the injuries that the entire offensive line was dealing with, and still able to run the football as well as they were. I think after watching that Black Friday game against the Philadelphia Eagles, I thought there was no way that the Detroit Lions would be able to stop the Bears running attack. And they did. They did. There were a couple of plays, I think, in the first half where the Bears were able to get some, I won't call them explosive plays necessarily, but they had some pretty nice runs in the first half, and they just went away from it. And the times that they did try to reestablish and get back to the run, which I don't know why they went away from, because they were only down, two scores, tied it up 16 all. They they weren't able to run the football. And this Lions defense, down Alex Anzalone, right? You want to talk about the guys that they were down along the offensive line? No Alex Anzalone, no Brian Branch, no
Aleem.
no Aleem McNeil. And you got guys like Makai Wingo out there, and you got guys, some of your ancillary players out there making plays. It was pretty darn encouraging to see the Lions defense respond in that way. I think that was my big takeaway, was their ability to stop the run.
Yeah, and I think that in itself kind of renewed my faith a little bit in the Lions. Like, not saying that I lost faith in the Lions' long-term future, but I think to Jeremy, to your point, when you were seeing this team just kind of get manhandled by good team after good team, the Bears, while we all kind of felt like there was something fraudulent there, running the ball was something that they were just having so much success with. And Ryan, to your point, I don't know if it was a coaching decision to kind of go away from it or if they just didn't feel like they were getting the success that they wanted to. But I mean, when you finish a game with 65 total rushing yards on 18 carries, 3.6 yards per carry, like it does feel like there's something to at least look forward to if this team can continue to kind of retool that defense and maybe adjust some things philosophically about how they want to go about stopping the run and just getting a little bit healthier in a couple areas so that they can do that a little bit better next year.
We're allowed to play the Kelvin Shepard game with this one. Take away DeAndre Swift's longest run. That leaves him at 9 for 30. Even the
Yeah.
Monangai stat line is even
Yeah.
more impressive. 6 carries for 14 yards. Take away his long of 6. That's
Five
5
for
for
eight.
8.
Yeah, no, it was a very impressive performance from the defensive front, and I think a lot of that actually came from like the actual front. The linebackers were kind of all over the place in this game. Jack was still Jack because he's phenomenal. Should have had an interception in this game. But Tyleek was out there, played some pretty solid ball. I
Yeah.
thought Aiden was great in run defense in this game. It was just very promising to see them not get pushed around by what I view as a top 3 rushing attack in football. And I think the Lions also deserve a lot of credit for their game plan, because whether it was intentional or not, they grinded out very long drives in the first half so that when the Bears took the field, you know, they went 3 and out, or they gained 1 first down, and then like suddenly the Lions were running like twice as many offensive plays as the Bears, and before you know it, they are down 2 scores and 2-point conversions, and there is maybe a bit more urgency to get away from a running game that isn't picking up enough yards at a time. Like, maybe it would have been efficient enough if they carried it through the third quarter, but it would have bled too much time because they weren't stopping the Lions offense at that point. And so I just, like Dan Campbell said after the game, and it was kind of one of my first thoughts after the game too, like that was the definition of complementary football, where your offense is keeping it away from the defense. I think it says a lot that they took the ball first too, right? The Lions won the toss and took the ball because I think that this was their plan all along. Let's try to get out to an early lead. Let's try to take the run game away from the Bears and make Caleb Williams beat us. Now, he almost did in the fourth quarter, like he's done to a lot of other teams, but I thought it was a really smart game plan. I thought it was executed very well between the 20s, maybe less so outside the 20s. And we if we want to get into some of the coaching malpractices in this game, we certainly can. But I was still very happy with how the Lions played overall in this game, and happy that they showed a little bit of fight in a game that, again, didn't really have a ton of stakes in it.
Yeah, I think as much as I can say that like I'm hopeful for what is to come in 2026 and beyond with this team, to your point about some of their struggles in the red zone, that is something that seems to be like a dark cloud that's kind of hanging over this offense in terms of like you got to figure that out going into next season, because as great as it is that you'll be able to march down the field, and as much as we can count on Dan Campbell being willing to roll the dice, Ryan, on fourth down in some situations, the Lions didn't find themselves in a lot of those situations in this game. And even when they did, Dan played it kind of close to the vest and just like, we're going to kick a couple field goals and just kind of keep it a little bit out of reach of Chicago in this one.
Yeah, I mean, there wasn't a ton to be impressed with when it came to some of the decision making. I mean, I think we should probably start with the end of game sequence before they get to the field goal. But on the other side of the 2-minute warning, not running the football, not trying to even think about running the football, which to at least to Dan's credit, I will say this. The Lions were throwing the ball all over the field. And they could do so at will. Now, should they have probably run the ball and played the clock game a little bit? You can make that argument, but I think that you could at least defend Dan from the standpoint that Amon-Ra St. Brown was open like all day long.
Yeah.
Jamison Williams was making plays. Khalif Raymond was making plays. If you want to do that, fine. But let's find some more surefire ways to get the ball into the hands of these pass catchers before we try marching down the field just throwing the football. So, but yeah, it was everything that was emblematic of what went wrong in 2025 for the offense, in the sense that it was some head scratching decisions on top of some poor execution. The Jared Goff interception was indefensible.
Mind-boggling.
Yeah, I mean, throwing that ball into triple coverage. Now, I did see Jeremy say on Twitter, and he mentioned, is super, like, that is like the most un-Goff like play ever. Maybe I can push back and say that's very Jared Goff like to force the ball to Amon-Ra St. Brown when he's trying to make a play. But I do agree, Jeremy, like, Jared Goff's never the type of guy to force something into windows when he really didn't need to there, right? And that was what was most uncharacteristic of it, where it was like, I mean, you could even see it clear as day on the replay from Jared Goff's vantage point. Like, Tesla is right there underneath for the yards you need to gain to put your field goal kicker in a position to make a easy chip shot field goal and put this game, 2 scores away.
Yeah, no, I mean, no question. You're right in that Jared Goff sometimes has a little tunnel vision for Jared Goff, but it's usually not 20 yards downfield on a 3rd and 20. Like, to me,
yeah,
the part that makes it so un-Goff like he's generally really good about not forcing things when he doesn't have to. When it is a 3rd and 20, he's the guy that knows a 10-yard check down is fine. It's honestly good in those situations because defenses are designed to stop you from gaining 20 yards. So you take 10 to 15, you debate going for it, or you kick a field goal and go up, a field goal with 2.5 left or whatever it would have been. But even before that, I mean, can we talk about the whatever trick play that they tried on a 3rd and 1 when, again, like, the running game was humming? There was no reason to get all like. I know 3rd and 1 is this down where you're like, this is the down that we can take a chance. Because if we take a chance and it doesn't work, we're in 4th and 1. Of course, in that line of thinking, you don't think, oh, wait, what if Dave Montgomery takes a sack because Jared Goff isn't even close to open? And let me trust my running back to have the wherewithal to throw that ball away, I guess. Yeah,
this is like the second time that I feel like we've had this situation play out where, like, I don't think it's being communicated well on these trick plays. If it's not there, like, moonshot it over the target.
Right. Well, on that day, it probably would have gotten called for intentional grounding because apparently that's if you, I take that back. If you throw it 30 yards over your receiver's head, that's not intentional grounding. That's fine because there's a receiver in the area.
Yeah, because NFL receivers are all capable of turning into Michael Jordan from Space Jam and just, magically reaching up and snagging those.
Sorry.
Well, I
But
guess
no,
I want to say the one other thing that was frustrating from a coaching standpoint was the play calling that looked incredible in the first half.
Yeah.
Like it looked so well scripted. It looked like there was intention. It looked like there was rhythm. It looked like there was it was the polar opposite of everything the Minnesota Vikings game was. It was everything that game wasn't from an execution standpoint, from a play calling standpoint, from an aggressiveness standpoint. It really seemed like the Lions had a plan, and Brisker, the Bear safety, talked about it post game,
Yeah.
talking about how we were in man and they schemed us up. Like they had all the right calls. They were working the middle of the field. He's like they kind of took us to task. They
They got
wouldn't belt
outcoached.
to you know
But
what, and yeah, that was what he was saying between the lines. That's what he was saying is like
yeah.
we just got out coached. We got outbrained by Dan Campbell. And then that's the frustrating thing is it's like, okay, but where was that for the past
Right.
month?
Right. Right. Because it felt like
well, and I
shoe
think
was on
that's
the other foot.
yeah, and I think that's a fair criticism to have of this offense and of Dan. Like, I mean, Dan talked to the media today and obviously was asked to grade himself, and he was maybe a little too critical of himself. I wouldn't necessarily give him an F on the season, but like,
A freaking
I
F.
I think right. I do see, and even in within that game where you're just like, okay, where were the adjustments, or why didn't you stick to some of the things that were working? Which I think they gave the right wrinkle in the sense that like in the first half it was a lot of Amon-Ra St. Brown like working in the slot and really just abusing CJ Gardner Johnson. And then in the second half, it was like, oh, you're probably going to give more attention to Amon-Ra because he's already racked up over 100 yards. Here's Khalif Raymond, who's going to be put in similar situations. So, like, there were adjustments. It's just, I think when it got down to some of the plays in the red zone, there were a couple plays that, yes, there were some head scratchers, but then there were a couple where, like, they were just out of reach. Like, I'm thinking about the pass that Goff throws to JMO that's
Yeah.
just, like, again, a couple of
Marcos.
inches
Yep.
out of his reach. That's a straight up touchdown if he catches that in stride and is able to turn up the sideline. So like it
Yeah. But I think we can all agree in general that was a pretty solid offensive performance outside of the red zone. The red zone stuff is more issues. And to me, like that's more evidence of there needs to be a different play caller in Detroit. And I know that's a conversation for maybe later in the podcast, but to me, the fact that Dan Campbell had a lot of struggles in situational downs, like big critical game tipping plays, going 0 for 4, 0 for 5 on fourth down in Philly and 0 for 2 against the Packers. And I know when you go back to some of those plays, the call was there, the execution wasn't, but it just felt like on these high leverage plays, the Lions weren't executing at their best, at what we were expecting and what we saw in 2024. They weren't at their best that year, and that's enough to tip a 9-8 football team, or a 12-5 football team to a 9-8 football team, right? So. It's hard to complain too much about this game, but I did feel like it was a step in the right direction for all the coaching staff, even though it should not have been close. Like the lines were so much better than the Bears through three quarters that the fact that game was ever tied in the fourth is the disservice to how much they were routing the Bears.
And there may not be enough to draw this conclusion, but I mean, maybe the best that Dan Campbell looked all season long as the play caller was the Washington Commanders game. And I know we can call the Commanders defense for what it is, but that was also the game where he had Sam Laporta for the majority of the game.
Yeah.
And then situationally, when you get into the red zone, I think you want to have some tight ends that you can rely on. You want to have some guys that you can put into spots. And when you have, no offense to Anthony Firkser, but like it's not exactly Brock Wright quality, right?
Right.
And you're kind of dealing with what you have, and there's less there's less variety, Miko, and there's less opportunities to maybe provide some eye candy and then get those tight ends worked in because you just don't have the horses.
Sure, but at the end of the day, whether he had the horses or not, Dan Campbell can at least say at the end of the season he's 2-0 against Ben Johnson. And I think there's something to say for the first game. Like the first game was a complete shellacking where like it kind of had everyone feeling like, oh yeah, the Lions don't need Ben Johnson. And obviously we know how the season went the rest of the way where they kind of had their struggles offensively and that conversation crept back in there. But I feel like I don't know, is it a little too early to kind of put a stamp on it that like Dan at least has Ben Johnson's number or at least has enough of a game plan to at least overcome a Chicago Bears team twice a season?
I don't know if I'm ready to say that. Like it's nice that it worked out that way. Listen, it is telling. I think week 2 win against that Chicago Bears team is not telling of much, right? That is a Bears team that is in the nascency of the Ben Johnson era. They're still learning the scheme on both sides of the ball. They're still learning how to play together. It's a completely revamped roster. The Lions should have handed them their asses, and they did. The Bears didn't really have any excuse this week, right? They've been playing some high level football for a while. The running game was a cohesive unit that have, obviously they were missing their left tackle, but in general they were working together in a way that took down a really good Eagles defense that like Ryan mentioned on Black Friday. And so I don't know if the Lions have like the secret key to beating the Bears, just like they had the key to beating Brian Flores for a while until they didn't. But I'll take doing it. I'll take owning the Bears. I'll take using the hashtag We Own the Bears for another 365-ish days. That's fine with me.
I love the stat that talked about that they showed the graphic about how the Bears haven't had a lead against the Lions since 2023. That's a cool stat.
Yeah.
I like that stat.
Yeah, I know, I don't know. I feel like I went into that game expecting more of a shootout, and I expected Caleb Williams to find some success and things like
Yep.
that in the passing game. And it never really felt like he was a factor up until like that fourth quarter where it's like this is the thing that makes him special is that like you give him a sliver of an opening and he can make a play that, you know, upper echelon quarterbacks are supposed to make or are expected to make. But at the end of the day, it's like we went back to talking about the run game or the run defense being so good. Like Caleb Williams also wasn't a factor in the run game. Like even in extending plays, wasn't the factor that he has been against other teams. And I think Jeremy, you talked about it earlier, or Ryan, you brought it up earlier. Like this is a thing where you can kind of tip your hat a little bit to Kelvin Shepard to be like, this is one aspect of his coaching as a DC that he seems to have done really well for most of this season.
Yeah, he bottled up quarterbacks' legs, not their arms, though, right? That's kind of how the season went. But no, I mean, that is a step in the right direction. I'm not trying to downplay it, right? That is something that has plagued this team for a decade, and honestly, I thought the game plan was again pretty solid this week from a defensive standpoint, which is now, I mean, it's 2 weeks in a row. They were pretty darn good against the Vikings. Now, not much of a test against the Vikings. I think we can all
I was gonna
agree,
say, yeah, not the same. It's not the same level of talent, but sure.
yeah. But yeah, no, I think in general, I mean, they went way, 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 way zone heavy in this game. And I think that caught the Bears and Caleb Williams off guard. I'm going to pull this stat from our good friend Brett Whitefield over at Fantasy Points. The Lions played zone coverage on, let me find the stat. They played man coverage on 3 of Caleb Williams' 36 dropbacks. 3. That is less than 10% when they're averaging like 30 to 40. So it's that's kind of been like a trend down the stretch here. It's a lot more zone, and I don't think the Lions are a great zone team, but I think they're great when they're disguising their intentions and when they show you man coverage and it's actually zone. That's when I think they're at their best. And now, for all that has been said about Kelvin Shepard, the one thing that I've admired about him pretty much all season long is his ability to adapt, his ability to change, his ability to try new things. It hasn't always worked, and sometimes it's come a little too slow, particularly in games. But in general, he is far more adaptable than Aaron Glenn ever was. And I think that should bode well for the Lions' future because now they have a full offseason to assess what went right, what went wrong. And, you obviously hope you do enough of that in the regular season while the season's going on to find out what does work for your team. But now they have a full year's worth of data, and I trust that they're going to try to find something that works.
And I remember going into the week where the Lions played the Chiefs, they were running zone when Kirby Joseph was on the field, and they were running a lot more zone when Kirby Joseph was on the field. So they felt comfortable clearly in that situation with those guys. And maybe Avante Maddox, you get to a point where you felt a little bit more comfortable with him.
Sure.
I give credit where credit's due because this was a defense that was giving up explosive plays left and right. They didn't allow a completion longer than 13 yards until 14 minutes and 16 seconds left in the fourth quarter on the 25-yard touchdown pass. Like their longest pass from scrimmage was a 13-yard pass with 8 seconds left in the third quarter. They played a fantastic game on defense in my opinion.
Yeah, and I think that was part of the reason that they were able to get the win at the end of the day. But at the same time, I think to kind of shift gears a little bit here, that win does have some people feeling a little differently, right? Like not everyone is excited that the Lions got a win because this did impact draft status. So I do got to ask you guys, are you happier about the win or more disappointed in the fact that the Lions are now drafting 17th instead of like 13th or 14th?
Man, I watch this team because I want to watch them win. Like I know there's this feeling from some fans, and I'm not trying to dismiss it. It's just not how I feel. I don't feel that it's Super Bowl or nothing. I feel like I watch this team because I want them to win. I get pleasure out of watching this team win on a weekly basis. That gives me happiness. And so the Lions going out there and beating a good Chicago Bears team, a little bit of a fraud, but a good Chicago team. Like, I'm happy. That makes me happy. It doesn't have to be any more complicated than that. And yes, in the long run, does it make the Lions a fraction of a percentage potentially worse? Yeah. But if Brad Holmes can't find talent at pick 17 where he would have found a game changer at 14, then he's a bad general manager. That's it. There are more than 16 extremely talented players in this year's draft class. I say that with no knowledge of this year's draft class, but I'm pretty confident there are going to be more than 16 very talented players.
Hey, Brad Holmes will trade up for one. I'll tell you that.
I mean, if he needs to, he sure will.
I think Miko, for me personally, I'm glad that the Vikings were able to take the gun out of the Lions' hand earlier in the afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
They win that game against Green Bay, and the Packers weren't playing anybody. That's fine, but they got stomped out by not even JJ McCarthy. JJ McCarthy played half the game and then said, "I'm good. I'm too hurt. I can't play any longer." Which led me to ask people on Twitter, Vikings fans, would you rather have JJ McCarthy starting week 1 or would you rather have Malik Willis? I'm still waiting to hear back from a lot of those people. But
so you're adopting Malik Willis to the Vikings now.
I just want to see my guy thrive. The thing that I'm glad that they have the 4th place schedule, Miko. I will say that I would be a little bit miffed if the Packers would have ended up winning that game and the Lions, they beat the Bears and they end up in 3rd place rather than in 4th place. That might have bothered me a little bit, but I think the prevailing emotion that I had aligns with Jeremy. The first half of that game was very fun. It was just fun to watch the Lions play good complementary football. And it was equal parts fun and frustrating. It was, again, where has this football team been?
Right.
Is Penei Sewell the problem? No, I'm just kidding. But that was the thing. It was like, this is so much fun. It's fun watching this football team play good football. Where was this weeks ago? But in the moment, it was fun. It was fun seeing Ben Johnson frustrated on the sideline. It was fun seeing Caleb Williams not play well. It was fun seeing them bottle up the run game again. It was all of those things. And if it's going to cost a few draft slots, I'm with Jeremy. If if Brad Holmes can't find talent at 17, then the Lions have bigger problems.
Yeah, and as the guy that was like actually like kind of hoping for better draft position going into this game, like I literally did not think about draft position until the Ravens Steelers game. And that's when I
Yep.
was just like, all right, this game can have impact on the draft status, but like I'm with you both. It was always conflicting going into this game because I did want to see this team win. I did not want to go into the offseason with 4 straight weeks of losing under this team's belt. Like it just wasn't going it's already going to be an awkward offseason. That just would have been the worst thing because lo and behold, probably when we get into our break, like there would have been a number of people talking about this person needs to be fired and this person needs to be cut and this person needs to be like gotten out of the building. Like it's at least it was at least nice to your point, Ryan, to see them playing like complementary, effective football in that first half and still hold on at the end to get that win. Like I said at the beginning, it gives you something to kind of hold on to and kind of renews that faith going into the future that like, no, there are still some really good pieces here. And yeah, I'm going to echo what you both said. If we're talking about Brad Holmes finding an impact player and the differences between pick 13 and pick 17, I really think we all need to probably touch a little grass. Like in all honesty, I think we need to really reevaluate, especially when you don't know what the big board or what like the drafts play like what players are going to be even available
Right.
in January. Like we're still so far away from the combine, from draft interviews, from the Senior Bowl. Like there's so many things that need to happen between now and then to get upset about draft position. I just don't understand that thought process this early in the
I,
off season.
I will say, I felt like I was going into that game pretty neutral about anything. Like, the Lions win, great. If the Lions lose, great. If they get blown out, fine, whatever. Like, who cares? But it quickly became the Bears better not pull this off again. I don't want to see this Bears. I don't like the the meme from Breaking Bad. Like they can't keep getting away with this. Like that became my primary objective in that game. Don't let Caleb Williams pull another game out like this because I can't handle that, and I would not be able to handle myself, Lions fans, Bears fans, national media if the Bears had pulled out that game. Like that to me was so much more important than draft position, so much more important than in like none of that stuff matter. I just could not sit and watch the Bears pull out another ridiculous come from behind victory. That was my primary objective at about 7:30 p.m. last night.
The moment for me was the interception because that is the way that I can't let the Bears win another football game. I was not going to sit by and let that happen. So then I was the meme. I was the person on the couch with the controller. I leaned in as soon as Goff threw that interception. I was like, Caleb cannot get away with this. This is not going to happen this way. And I was just so glad to see it not work out that way. And for right after Jared Goff gets that intentional grounding penalty against him, and then Caleb does it, and they're like, "Oh no, it's fine." Like, no, it's not. That's clearly intentional grounding. I will say though, Caleb Williams threw the hell out of that ball. That ball zipped out of his arm, like in a way where I was like, it looked VFX. It did not look like any like it looked like it was straight Netflix Stranger Things. His ability to run back and do that, but that was something I loved all broadcast long was that Tom Brady would highlight on these plays where either he just missed a receiver or a receiver dropped the pass, and there were problems with that with Chicago for sure, but it was a lot of like, man, Caleb Williams looks so great, like all the sidearm and the throw, and it's like it was an incomplete pass. Like, can we stop with the glazing of Caleb
Is
Williams
is
for just a moment?
is Tom Brady becoming the Chris Collinsworth of the Fox network where he's just going to
Caleb Williams.
glaze Caleb Williams for the rest of time?
Well, it might be Fernando Mendoza.
I don't know that reference. I'm sorry.
He's
He's the
Raiders,
Indianapolis
man,
quarterback,
number
right?
one pick.
Ah,
Let's go.
gotcha.
He is. That's how much
He
draft
is.
prep we've done, people.
I've
I was gonna say
recognized
the name
a
sounded
college
familiar,
player.
and I was like, nope, it's not registering. Good for you. You get a sticker. I will say though, with the Lions getting this win, and again with it looking like for the most part pretty impressive for most of the game, did did it change any of the priorities that you guys feel like the Lions need to have going into this offseason? Or did it even just confirm some of the things that you're just like, nope, that absolutely still needs to get that still needs to be a priority going into the offseason?
Offensive tackle with the way that Dan Skipper and Taylor Decker were talking after the game.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, for sure. I mean,
that's
the game
that was
itself.
one for me.
The game itself didn't bring anything to light because you're playing a scrub team like the Chicago Bears.
Oh my gosh. Okay. All right. Hold on a minute.
He's just twisting the knife even deeper the further we get into this
Well,
conversation. Like,
earlier he was like, "Well, it's a good Bears team."
Let me
yeah, like
let me
now it's
contradict
like
myself in a segment. All right.
all the
Every,
pleasantries are going out the window.
everything's fine. Chris Hubbard's here. Just gonna move him over to left tackle. Everything's good. Nope, no worries. Everything's fine. No,
I
Miko, I don't think this game really swayed my opinion because I feel like it's weird because I almost feel like my opinion about the offensive line was made up mid-season. And
mhm.
that was I feel like was our big takeaway, especially over the past month of football, right? Like the offense stuttered, the offense stumbled, and when it did, it seemed like more oftentimes than not, it was an offensive line problem. And I think that we all recognize that for years as this is the thing that drives the entire offense. If this is okay, then everything else will be all right, And yesterday did nothing to change my opinion of that, at least on offense. On defense, again, the same things kind of persist, right? Like maybe, hey, like seeing Makai Wingo out there. Okay, cool. A lot of Lions coaches had been talking up his development over the course of the season, and he hadn't played, since earlier in the season. Maybe that's something that you can not count on, but you can look forward to as, oh, maybe they might have a guy who can provide a little bit of help up, along the interior. But I think large in part, like the Lions' big problems are still their big problems heading into the offseason.
Yeah, I would say for me, the looking at the defensive side, the one thing that like I guess I got like confirmation on is that I do think like a lot of their issues on that side are either schematic or philosophical, right? Like you talk about them playing so much more zone in this game, and Kelvin Shepherd showing that ability to kind of like adapt and change things. That is what I feel like is a lot of the issues with the Lions is that like they just aren't identifying where they need to make adjustments and where they need to try and scheme up a game plan specifically for an opponent versus like, oh no, this is our identity and this is what we're going to do. Like they have the players, and yes, a lot of them were hurt this year, but I still do have a lot of faith in, if when Kirby and BB come back next year, when you're able to get Terry on back, that you have enough pieces. And yes, you need to add depth at a couple of places, and you probably, hopefully, we'll see if Brad prioritizes a mid to top tier pass rusher somewhere in the offseason opposite Aiden. But there just seems to be enough there player wise to have an impactful defense. You just need to adjust your scheme and philosophy on how you want to attack teams because you can make a Bears team look very pedestrian when you do that well.
Yeah, no question. I think after the Vikings game, I probably even said it on this podcast. Nothing that happened in the Chicago Bears game would change my mind too much about this Lions team. But if there was like anything that I moved towards this after this game, it was just a little bit of reassurance that they do have the guys in the building. They do have the capabilities, even with this coaching staff, although it certainly seems like maybe there is going to be some changes coming there one way or another. There's enough. This team is close enough. This team is good enough. And not just the roster, like this franchise is good enough to be right back to where they were last year. And I feel fairly confident in that. Not 100% confident. I think if there's anything this year taught me, it was maybe don't take everything for granted. But they're good enough and they're smart enough. And god dang it, people like them.
I think that's the same thing that we can say about Righteous Felon, right? They're good enough. People like them. They are consistent enough. And that's exactly why Pride of Detroit is sponsored by Righteous Felon Craft Jerky. Again, the Pride of Detroit podcast is brought to you by Righteous Felon Craft Jerky. It's the jerky that fuels the Pride of Detroit POD cast. Each 2-ounce bag of jerky has 16 to 20 grams of protein, and each stick has 8 grams. Trust me, if it's good enough for the Lions, it's going to be good enough for you too. Righteous Felon is based in Westchester, Pennsylvania, and they use locally sourced all natural Black Angus beef and prides itself on superior quality, revolutionary branding, and unique flavors that go beyond the stereotypical jerky offering. Because I am getting back to like my nutrition kick and being a little bit more mindful of the things I'm putting in my body, I was able to immediately jump into some Soul Survivor today, and I forgot how much I love the combination of like the sweetness, the spiciness, a little bit of the savoriness. Like it's such a good jerky flavor, along with Marilyn Monroe and a few others. Obviously, Fal Capone is one that is still a little hard to get like the actual jerky of, but you can still get the meat sticks, and that's just as good. So if you go over to righteousfelon.com and use the promo code POD15 at checkout, you can get 15% off your order. Once again, that's promo code POD15 at righteousfelon.com. When we come back, we're going to be reflecting a little bit on the season, talking about some of the things that we learned from the season, as well as talking like a little bit of a look ahead, because there were some things that were said post game by a couple players that really do kind of set the table for what the Lions may need to focus on going into 2026. So we're going to talk about that and a whole lot more right after this.
All right. Dang, that was a mega-sized segment. Y'all got 40 minutes in a segment.
About a meaningless football game.
I mean, it's a Lions dub, Ryan. That's the last. This is the last Victory Monday in at least 8 months.
Oh man, wow. Well, when you put it like that,
unless you're talking Victory Mondays for exhibition basketball games.
Don't be mad. Don't be mad and lash out.
I'm sorry. I'm not yucking your yum.
We're all upset that football is gone. We're all upset that football is gone.
You're right. You're right.
We're upset that Lions football is gone, to be specific. Technically, there's still football.
There's still maybe a chance at Blake Willis plays at some point.
It's
like the only thing I'm looking forward to in the playoffs. It's the only thing I'm looking forward to.
I want to get through alerts here, but I am curious as to where Lions fans stand on Saturday night's game. If you're sitting there watching Packers Bears, at some point there's going to be something that comes out of you and roots for one team or the other. And
I'll let you get through alerts. Yeah, it's a good discussion to have.
Yeah, I'm already seeing a lot of FTPs in the chat, which I think is probably where I align. But let me get through the alerts. Mr. Matthews bomber jacket. I don't know if that's in relation to you, but I hope you have a bomber jacket. Thank you for the follow. It is only spelled with one T. So if it's one of your students, A+.
One of my students the other day says that because I'm on a teacher salary, I can't afford the other T in my last name. And I was like, that's so mean.
Jeez. Damn. Kids are ruthless these days.
You don't know the half of it.
Jeez.
I agree that I probably don't. Wizard, thank you for these 58 months as my Panay Sewell anniversary. Indeed. Happy Panay Sewell to you. Tara, thank you for the 33 months as what a nice way to end the season. Lions Blood, 53 months says got to get T right this offseason. I think that means offensive tackle right this offseason. And yeah, no doubt. Guy Utah, 36 months says go Lions. I have faith they'll shore up things over the offseason. Pirate Dog, 38 months says cheers. Xander's $2 super chat on YouTube says a few GM openings, Ray Agnew hire equals 2 third-round picks. Yeah, that would be technically true. I don't think Agnew's ready yet, but I don't know. I don't get a sense of where Ray Agnew's standing is with the rest of the league?
I feel like that's one of the hardest things to do, right?
Yeah.
Is to gauge front office interest.
Right.
Like, obviously, if you win a Super Bowl, like, that probably increases your likelihood that someone's going to get poached from your front office. But, like, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, it's so hard to, like, even if you're an outside person looking at the Lions organization, you're like, wow, they're, I really admire the way they built from the bottom up. Like, all these teams that have new coaching staffs and new general managers are looking for those. They're probably starting from the bottom up, right? And so you're like, okay, let me look at what's this Ray Agnew guy done? I don't know. He's just the assistant general. Like, I can't point to Ray Agnew and said, well, he drafted this guy. He did that. Like, obviously he was on the pro personnel for a while. And so, I mean, maybe being part of the Lions gets him in the door. I don't know how compelling of a interviewer he's going to be, and I'm not leaning one way or another. I mean, he's pretty soft spoken when he's talking to the media, but that doesn't mean that's how he interviews with other people. So I don't know. I generally speaking, I think he might need to put in a couple more years, and the Lions are going to have to see a little bit more success before he becomes a legitimate, not just getting an interview here or there candidate, but like a legitimate could get hired this cycle candidate. I don't think it's now, but like you guys said, like it's really hard for me to gauge what the interest is externally, and then the reverse is true. I don't know how much he has like flaunted his skills to an outside team.
Are the Falcons the only team that have fired their GM so far?
The Dolphins. But they fired their GM mid-season. And they brought in Troy Aikman to do their GM search.
Oh, right.
That's right.
Did the Raiders too, or no? I know Tom Brady's getting involved.
Yeah, I think the Raiders cleaned house.
I can't
I
believe Giants GM survived. I guess it was no.
I can't believe Chris Ballard survived.
I mean, he's drafted well, right? For the most part.
Who's that?
Ballard?
Oh. I mean, I'd have to look at it, but I just know that there are a lot of Colts people I follow that are like scratching their heads, and they're like, "Why?" I thought it was wild that they had to come out and say that Steichen was safe. I'm like, why would you let that guy get away? Like,
I mean, there were some crazy names thrown out.
I guess that lets you know that they probably didn't go.
Go. Sorry.
I was gonna say, I think that just kind of goes to show. I think what the Colts did this season probably surprised a lot of people in the building. Like, I think that the fact that they had to come out and be like, nope, everybody's staying, almost kind of tips the hat that they were like, hey, we don't know if the Daniel Jones experiment's actually going to work out, and if it doesn't, we're just going to clean house.
Yeah. Well, Chris Ballard was also the guy who, as chat points out, I mean, he did move up to get Anthony Richardson.
Apparently, the Raiders did not fire their general manager, according to a couple of YouTuber chats.
Well, the Raiders didn't?
The Raiders did not. Dable did get fired. Dable got fired months ago. Phase.
Oh, he did get Spytek. It's just
that's the guy's name.
How you pronounce his name? It's Spytek.
Yes, Gannon and his explosives are gone. All right, let me get through the rest of these real quick. Robo, thank you for the 46 months. Says Red Zone will get better when Laporta gets back and Tisla improvements in offseason. Yeah, but I think what they were missing most, though, was actually the running game. Because to me, like, it felt like any time they were first and goal from, like, the 7 or higher, they're not scoring. They're not scoring. They're going to run on first down. They'll get to the 6. They'll probably run on second down. It'll be to the 5, and then like good luck trying to score on a 3rd and 5 when everyone knows you're going to pass. 3rd and 5 from the 5-yard line. 3rd and goal from the 5, I should say. Not an easy. Sounds easy, but it's not.
I also need to. Yeah. I also need to see like proof that the Lions are going to prioritize Taslaw as a red zone target next year. Like I still think he's going to be 4th in the pecking order.
Yeah,
when it comes down to like who they're going to be trying to get open.
that's probably
Like
true.
I feel like it's
To Slaw?
Yeah, I feel
Might
like it's
be might be
Laporta, St.
5th.
Brown,
Gibbs.
Gibbs,
Yeah,
J-Mo.
and in the red zone, I don't know. I don't feel like they target JMO. I don't feel like they target JMO a ton in the red zone.
I feel like they should do it more on a guy who can move as fast as he can.
right.
That's fair. They probably should, but I feel like if I do think that like they would probably prioritize to Slaw more just because of some of the things that they would want to do as far as like running fade routes, or even if they do want to play him as like a big slot in certain formations and kind of like have him do some of the Amon-Ra stuff in the middle of the field and just try and rifle something into him.
Man, if you can get the defense in man in the red zone, doing that stuff where like you run JMO in motion and like give him a running start, whew. Why haven't we haven't seen that? Just run him out into the flats, man.
Like you said, that's why they need a new OC.
Am I the new OC? Did I just figure everything out?
I think you're hired.
Okay, great. Now to figure out how to get the defense into man coverage in the red zone.
Well, that's a problem for tomorrow. Rome wasn't built in a day.
That's right. Nick the Greek, 100 bits. Now that it's all over, I realized how much I'm going to miss watching these godforsaken team full of bums. Nick, there are people under those helmets. Kick Puncher 22 months says, I 100% went in thinking it's okay to lose. As soon as that first drive started, I wanted to win badly. Go Lions forever and happy Victory Monday. Great work this season, guys. Hey, thanks, Kick Puncher. My internet's unstable again. It just like goes out for a second and then it's back.
Okay, I wasn't sure if it was me or not.
I think it's also you though, Miko. I feel like you're very delayed. I'm generally pretty synced with Ryan. I don't know though.
I genuinely don't know.
We all need to improve some things in the offseason. Except for Ryan, you're perfect.
I mean, if the Lions pay for it, I'll get better internet.
We are not team funded, to be clear. we get enough
Hey, you don't know if you won't
accusations.
ask, okay?
We get enough accusations that we carry the team's water. And he suggested that they're paying for our internet.
I mean, that's enough to carry a glass of water for them.
Where was I? No rules. $2 super chat on YouTube says, is Manu ready to take over? No. No. I don't think so. I mean,
which is why you're going to see a lot of people clamoring for left tackle or tackle depth in general, whether it's free agency or the draft.
Guys, Diana Rossini.
stop it. Isn't this the same thing we already talked about last week?
Quote, many around the league believe that if the relationship between Max Crosby and the Raiders remains strained, Vegas would be open to trading its star.
They don't even have a head coach yet. They're not going to do anything.
I need the takes right now. I'll get out ahead. If the Lions could have had the 14th pick, they could have traded it for Crosby. But because they won that meaningless game against the Chicago Bears, the Raiders are not interested in pick 17.
I hate you.
The Lions should trade Jared Goff for Max Crosby in a first round pick.
I'm gonna hit the stop streaming button in like 5 seconds, right?
Someone's gonna someone's gonna say it because they're gonna be like, "Oh, you need the cap space, so just like ship
And they
Jared
need
Goff off
and they
the
need a
Raider and
quarterback,
the
right?
Raiders need a quarterback."
There
Yeah,
you go. Problem fixed. And they have the number one pick. Wow. Think about all the things
Lions
they
take
could do.
Carson. I would say they can either get the first round pick from the Raiders or draft Carson Beck. Like it's gonna be something stupid.
Oh man. Trade Max Crosby to the Lions. Sign Malik Willis. Raiders will be fine.
Just with this magic amount of money that the Lions are gonna have.
No, the Raiders signed Malik
hold on,
Willis.
hold on. Could the Lions do this twice? Could they trade for another quarterback and Geno Smith come here? And like, oh, it actually was the Raiders the whole time. Geno Smith wasn't that bad.
How dare you? How
They
dare
did it
you?
once, Ryan. They could do it again.
It could be worse. You could have Todd McShay out on the internet saying that Dante Moore should ask the Raiders if they're going to draft him, and if they say no, he should say no because nobody wants to play for the New York Jets.
That is a wild thing to say. Like,
Poor Aaron Glenn, dude. I feel bad for Aaron Glenn. People are really
seriously.
piling on the Jets.
I mean, some of it feels at least a little warranted. Being
A
the only team
little
that-
bit, but they also
interception thing is
traded two.
ridiculous.
They traded two of their two best defensive players. I can't even
Yes.
say like two of their two best defensive
best.
players. Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, not getting one interception is crazy though. Like not even one.
Yeah.
Not one.
It's crazy.
I was gonna say, like, not even like something tipped your way.
I've already seen in like 4 different places like guess the mysterious quarterback, and it shows the quarterback stats, and it's like it's actually every quarterback that played against the Jets this year.
Not nice.
That's not nice.
They do have a lot of stuff to figure out, though. Like, I don't envy Aaron Glenn's situation whatsoever.
I'll say this, and I do mean it. If there's anyone that can like weather the culture storm of this year and next, like I think he's got a shot. I don't know if he's going to turn it into good football, but I think that team will buy in. Well, buy-in's hard. Buy-in's hard when you're losing right away. But
Sure.
Well, buy-in's hard when you're continuing to lose and you're losing in more embarrassing fashion
right.
as the season goes on.
Yeah, like Junk Trunk said, the Bears took all of the Jets' turnover luck this year. That's what happened. Osmosis. They sucked it all away. But the biggest mistake I was like, if I saw the Jets like fired Aaron Glenn, or if they were planning on firing Aaron Glenn, I'm like, that's the biggest mistake you can make.
Right.
What do you mean? Raheem Morris just became available. Like,
I mean, that's a head scratcher.
I agree. I don't know what the Falcons are doing, man.
they don't either.
Because they fired Fontenot, right? They fired their GM too.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
They cleared house. I don't know, man.
I
It
don't
felt like
understand
that team was turning a corner, and you're like, no. Let's bring it back
That's
down.
what I was gonna say. Like nothing about that makes nothing about that makes sense. Like in your division specifically, if you had probably just won a few more division games.
Right. One more.
Well, if you
Like
just
a
would have
single
taken care of business against Carolina Panthers.
Yeah.
Yeah. A single more.
It's just, I don't know. I think some of the biggest problems these teams have when it comes to a rebuild is they're not willing to go through the tough parts. They're not willing to sit through a bad season or two because there's like one team here or there, like the Chicago Bears this year, right? They turned it around in an offseason. Yeah, but they actually had like a baseline of talent already there. They probably were a much better team than their record was in 2024. And yes, Ben Johnson turned that offensive around, but it also required like kind of, I don't want to say luck, but like it required their free agents, their trades that were bold trades at the time. Like we laughed at the Jonah Jackson thing, right? That ended up working out pretty well. It everything the
Yeah.
Bears did like felt like best case scenario came about. And that
Well,
just
also
doesn't
don't
happen very often.
look how many top 50 picks they spent on skill position players. And like
Yeah.
the kind of the head start that they got by
Yeah.
trading away that first overall pick for a treasure trove of stuff.
Right. Yeah. The, I'll sit here and like I won't defend what, and I don't know whose decision was what with the quarterback situation in Atlanta, but like that was obviously a huge mess and weirdly managed, and I don't know, man. Like to me, I think Raheem Morris is like an excellent leader. He had kind of turned around that defense, which is his side of the ball.
Second most sacks in the NFL.
Right. I I would not be surprised if he's one of the bigger gets in this head coaching cycle as a head coach. Because I don't like
The Titans are interested in him?
I think so. Yeah. Are we dropping more stuff? Holy drop streams, Batman? Or are we just dropping streams? What do you mean? Anyways, what was I gonna say?
Raheem Morris. Sought after.
No, I was gonna say, and I think it was Risden who put it out there, and I think I agree with him. Like, is there a hot name out there? Is there just like a guy? Like to me, it felt like Liam Cohen and Ben Johnson were like, you got to get these young offensive minds. They're gonna turn around your football team, and they kind of did for both in both situations. Is that guy out there this year? Like even
no, but I think that's another reason why yeah, I think that's what makes the Raheem Morris firing like so shocking. Is like it happened so quickly that you would almost think that there's a guy out there that they're just like, oh, we got to get that guy. I'm I see someone just said Brian Flores. Man,
he deserves it.
I really think that lawsuit has to get settled first. Like
he's earned another shot, and I'm not just saying that because I want him out the division, but that is like 20%
no, he
of the
has
motivation of me saying that.
But like that's you're right though. Like he has earned a shot. I feel like there's like a backdoor handshake in the league where there's like, hey, like until we figure this out.
Yeah, maybe. All right. Two more alerts here, and then we'll get back to Packers versus Bears. JT Sam, 35 months, says the NFL MVP should be. Finish the sentence.
Myles Garrett. No, it's Matthew Stafford.
Oh, okay, cool. I was really worried that I was going to be the only one to say Matthew Stafford, but yeah, that's my MVP.
I think Jeremy's on the Matthew Stafford train.
I have zero strong opinion. I have not looked into this like statistically or anything like that. And if I'm being also completely honest, I feel like I've watched Drake May play maybe like a quarter this year, so I don't really know how he's doing it. It feels like I guess it would make sense because I don't think the expectations that were that high for the Patriots this season. But it feels like they haven't been on national TV much, and so I don't know.
Have they been on national TV at all? I can't even.
I know they got the Sunday night spot, right? Or did they get the Monday night spot this upcoming week? I think they got the Sunday night.
No, they're playing Sunday night, against the Chargers.
That's the primetime spot. It's
a
big time.
I saw the Texans account was making fun of how they're finally not stuck at like the 3:30 game.
Yeah. It's fair. So I mean, I could give you just a random answer, an uninformed answer if you want, but I don't really have an informed answer for this debate.
Well, you really have to pick a side. Are you team Barnwell or are you team
Shots?
Team team shots.
Uh, you know, based on everything I know about each roster, which is also kind of very little, especially with the Patriots, like I view the Rams as the better team. So maybe that means that
Like
Drake
the
May is
better
more
supporting
valuable.
cast.
I don't know. That's my weak argument.
I
I mean,
feel
their
like
numbers are.
no,
I
go
was gonna
ahead.
say their numbers are. I was gonna say if we're going by numbers, like they're fairly comparable. Like Drake has the better completion percentage. Uh, but Matthew's thrown more yards, more touchdowns, and they've thrown the same number of interceptions. So,
Yeah,
Wait,
31 touchdowns just seems kind of light for an MVP candidate.
well, especially when the other dude threw 46. Like that's
And
I
maybe
don't care who your
and
receivers are.
and maybe part of that is to Jeremy's point, right? In terms of the guys you have around you. I mean, you have a guy who caught 129 passes for 1,700 yards in Puka Nacua, and like that, it wasn't even your touchdown guy. Like your touchdown guy was the Devonte Adams cheat code on the goal line. So I I truly think that if Stafford wouldn't have had that stinker of a game against Atlanta, that I think this award would have been his, and he would have got it wrapped up.
I think that's probably true.
Back in week 2, though.
Wait, no, last week's game.
Last
Uh,
week's game when they played Atlanta.
Oh, sorry. I'm looking. Yeah, this is. I'm sorry. Dates
Yeah.
are the other way.
He does. I
the
mean,
Monday night game.
he throw.
Finishes the season with 8. Like I get it. Like I think it's a more of a walk away award if he finishes the season with only
Five
5 interceptions.
interceptions. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah.
But like,
That's what I'm saying though. Like that changes the narrative a bit. And then the way that the Patriots have finished and they've won the AFC East and I don't know. It feels like it's turning into it's a lot of like team stuff that's going on right now. It's like, well,
Right.
like Drake May played against all these easy passing defenses and Stafford played against harder pass defenses, but he's got a better supporting cast than Drake May. And there's some people are like, oh, Drake May rushed for 400 yards. I'm like, I don't care.
yeah,
You don't care at all. It's part of the game.
Well, when Malik Willis does it, it's different.
Oh wait, how many passing touchdowns does Stafford have?
46.
No, he has 45. He was short a yard. He was short a yard.
How many passing yards does he have? 4,707? 4,706. Hey, guess what? He's still first in both of those categories. If you take those away.
$5,
I also
£5.
I also would give.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say one last thing. I would also give it to Matthew just because, like, you guys remember him going into the season. They're like, hey, he's gonna have to take an epidural to play,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
and then
Oh,
he's
yeah.
going out and did this.
Oh,
That
yeah.
should get you the reward by itself.
I don't hate that argument. Gone through more adversity.
He goes through adversity every time he has to go home. Okay, we can move along.
All right. £5 super chat from Smithers says, no offense to Hank Fraley, but I wonder if the Lions need a new run game coordinator. Fun, dynamic run design has been missing a bit. I kind of brought this up, I don't know, 3 or 4 weeks ago on Pride of Detroit Direct, and it's certainly something that I think it is at least worth exploring. But I also know that Hank Fraley is just like so freaking beloved in that room that I find it hard to believe that one, the Lions would ever move on, and two, that he's the root of the problem. I don't know. There's also like a fair, reasonable conversation to have of like, hey, the Lions drafted a developmental offensive tackle and a bunch of day 3 offensive linemen, and what do they have to show from it from those picks? Like if Hank is this
In terms of
master
his, like, ability to develop. Yeah.
if he's a master developer, why hasn't Giovanni Manu worked out? Why did we see a step back from Christian Mahogany this year? Why never amassed to much.
Colby Sorsdal.
Yeah. Oh boy, the internet is struggling. Okay, I think maybe I'm back. Nope, internet's unstable. Immediately shows up on my screen.
It's like listening to the sloth from Zootopia. From Zootopia.
Green bar's back. How's?
He's just frozen frame staring into my soul
Oh,
right
really?
now.
Can you hear me?
Hmm?
It's funny because I can hear
Yeah,
you
I
guys
can hear
fine
you.
now.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that was extremely delayed. Do a test here.
Oh, really?
Oh, okay.